Hi, I'm Kelly with Move Redmond, and today we're doing a candidate ride along. Could you please introduce yourself, let us know the position you're running for, and what inspired you to run for office?
Hi, my name is Menka Soni, and I'm running for Redmond City Council position number 6. What inspired me to run for this position? I've been already involved in Redmond in many ways. I'm your arts commissioner as well as vice president for One Redmond Foundation, plus my charity organization that is helping several underserved communities in Redmond. And Redmond is evolving and it's growing. And I definitely felt that it is very important now for me to get involved in all the changes that we are trying to bring to Redmond, the policies that is going to impact us and our children and our communities. So definitely I am now ready to take on a bigger responsibility and be the part of the change to see that together.
Great, thank you. All right, well, what is your preferred way to get around Redmond and why?
So I have honestly used all modes of a transportation, from bikes, from walking, from bus, and even using the car and the van pool. Because when I was working for in downtown Seattle, I used to take van pool, and I've also used the metro transit there. But if you ask me, my best mode of transportation is always walking, and I am a big supporter of that because it helps me for my mental health. And as a big advocate for the mental health, when you're walking, you're connecting with people, you're seeing a lot of things, you can stop, you can do whatever you want, and at the same time listening to my music at times, or the podcast that I've always done. It's been always very helpful. So I would say definitely walking is one of my best way that helps me to connect with people and helps me to keep myself also in sanity.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So, if you're elected, what are your top transportation priorities for the city of Redmond?
I should say when I get elected. um, my top priorities for the transportation definitely will be, making our city of Redmond safe for transit. And I would definitely say it also needs more sustainability because definitely we are putting up a lot of new projects and everything, but they all have to be sustainable and affordable because it is very important that we are also including people, those who still cannot afford all the different modes of a transit. So definitely using that. And at the same time, I would say that, making sure that we have our infrastructure there. Like when you're talking about the sidewalks, you're talking about the bike lanes, the pedestrian lanes. You're also talking about, how the different trails to transit can be done. So, definitely would be working on all these priorities. I know that there is a work that has been already done, and I'm being a new candidate. I'm still trying to, get hold of all this data and the information that exists. But when I am in the council, I definitely want to see that all these plans are also making an impact. So I think it would be also a time for us to check whatever the plans have been put together, the budgets that has been done, were they sufficient, and if they needs any changes, what adjustments can be done, and then definitely looking and bringing more new ideas and be a part of the overall vision for city of Redmond that just makes our city more connected, more safe, and more approachable.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you so much. So, Vision Zero is this policy of and priority of trying to believe that no one should be seriously injured or killed on our streets. And the City of Redmond City Council has previously passed a Vision Zero resolution, and they did this in 2022. What would your approach to implementing Vision Zero be?
So, for Vision Zero, I also have a personal and an experience and a story. So I am definitely a biggest advocate for Vision Zero. My own niece actually met with a car accident, not in Redmond though, where she was using the pedestrian lane and a car came and hit her and she died on the spot. So, the pain, the fear that I still live seeing that happen always haunts me, and it always makes me push towards Vision Zero because we don't want any more families, we don't want any other person to be impacted with these crashes. So I definitely think, we need to work, we need to strongly work towards this goal. When people are in the cars or using the different modes of a transit and these options, we all have to ensure that people, those who are there on the streets, they have a family to go back.
Yeah.
They have somebody's waiting for them, and they have some responsibilities to deliver. So I will definitely say we all need to look together, whether it is in terms of ensuring that the speed limits are followed, or whether it's ensuring that you have the right lanes where people, that the pedestrians can walk, the bike users can walk, and at the same time we have to also ensure that all these things are also known to people, because I think education is one of the biggest area that we often overlook. So it's also important that we tell and educate people also on all of these initiatives that the city has taken, and ensure that they have read that, ensure that they are aware of that. So it's kind of a thing that we have to emphasize to ensure we don't get any more crashes, we don't get any more injuries to anybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your personal story, and I'm so sorry for the loss in your family. That's hard.
It's hard, it's really hard, and that's what made me started thinking more on these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in Marymore Station right now. With the arrival of light rail to downtown Redmond and Marymore Station, Move Redmond's been really focused on station access and how we get people to the light rail stations. What are some of your ideas to help people who especially live in some of the further out neighborhoods like Education Hill or Edgewood Park that aren't right next to the station help get there?
So I'll definitely want to emphasize one more thing. Getting these light rails, it's indeed one of once in a lifetime opportunity for city of Redmond, and being ahead in the game for several reasons in terms of usage of this. But if you don't put the efforts for first and the last mile to make these resources accessible, it's just going to fail. So I definitely think we also have to start focusing on how people are able to access these transport methods. So we and I know like that you're lying bikes, these are already there, but I think we have to still work on coming up with some more out of the box thinking, and areas where we can ensure that it's accessible for people. And I'd say that probably consider using some shuttle services that can help people to reach to the places where they do not have an easy mode to come here. Of course, we all want to emphasize for having a multi-model city. We also want to emphasize having some transit-oriented development where you have, the retails, the housing, and everything like
Yeah.
very closer to the transit. So definitely, we want to work towards that goal. And I know that cities already, this is part of all their plans and everything that it is there. But we have to ensure that people are able to use it. And at the same time, I'll also say we have to start looking at an underserved population. Do they have an access? Because sometimes some of these methods, they just become restricted to people, and we have to ensure that these people are also aware of some of these modes, and start looking into our infrastructure, start looking into our budget. I would definitely say like budget is also one of the areas we have to look, that can we start adding some more, where we can add one more slice that it can make like transportation affordable, accessible, and inclusive. So I definitely think with the sidewalks, with the pedestrian lanes, and encouraging more people to come out and start using these alternate ways of transportation will help us. And start looking in some of the routes. And I just got to know that King County has added additional bus routes, so that's a fantastic news.
Great, thank you. So, funding for transportation has been a bit more constrained than it has in previous years. If the city of Redmond faced a budget shortfall for transportation projects, how would you approach solving this problem?
So this problem, I think even in the past, many cities have already witnessed, and they have experienced. I'm also a believer of collaborations. I think bringing new collaborations to help with some of these budgeting and funding issues, like keep your finger crossed, does not happen. But if it happens, I think having we see Redmond is a city with bigger corporate giants. Having partnerships with the corporates, having partnerships with King County, Sound Transit, PSRC, having a with the corporates, and I would also say, why not with the community organizations, because it's like it's a combined effort which is going to benefit everybody in the city, in the community. So we need to bring all these partners together to see what additional funding can be raised. We have to start reaching out to the other sources of funding, which is probably like, city may not have, but there could be some other sources of funding. I don't know any of those resources as of now, but definitely want to commit looking out and searching for some of those kinds of funding that we can see. And then at the same time, we can start looking into our budget, into our priorities, to see, how and when we can ensure that there is enough funding that is available to carry out the projects. Because, if there is no safety, it's like, why people will live in a city. So safety is definitely every community member, every resident is always looking for.
Mhm. Great. All right. So, if there was a project that was really contentious and had folks who opposed or supported and was a really hot button issue, how would you approach dealing with that contentious issue?
Definitely, like, I bring over great corporate experience as well. I have worked in all major corporates like Microsoft, Starbucks, and this is a kind of a question that always, or a situation that always happen anywhere. It's not only city; it can happen even with the small community groups. And I think the biggest thing that we have to see is understand first each other's perspective, because understanding the issue, going to the core of the issue, trying to find out what is the core, what is the root cause of some of these conflicts that exist, and then sit down on the table, talk respectfully to find out what is the solution for handling these kinds of an issues are. And we it's sometimes it's very hard to satisfy everyone, but end of the day, our goal and our vision should be what helps our city of Redmond. So, when we are all inclined towards a city, towards the people, those who are getting benefit from that, I think that will just help us to come to the resolution and solve it amicably and mutually, with a matured discussions and conversations, and digging into the areas that are making that impact.
How would you ensure that transportation planning in Redmond reflects the needs of people of all ages, incomes, and abilities?
Absolutely. See, I am a big advocate for promoting equity, inclusion, and diversity. And this is one area, again, as I mentioned it earlier, we have to ensure that whether it is seniors or the school going kids or people living, the underserved people living in the kind of far reach out areas, we have to ensure that everybody has an access for that. So, doing research and studies to collect some of that data, even the data to collect how much they have used these transit in the past, because that will also help us, not just knowing where they live, but also how much they have used, will always help us to understand that who is using it. So when you're talking about seniors, you're also talking about the ATA requirements. So when you're talking about the stations, or you're talking about going to the bus stands or even the pedestrian lanes, we have to ensure that they are wide enough. These places are wide enough to accommodate all the ATA requirements, so that we are able to cater to them specifically now for the seniors. Now, I'm a mother of two daughters, and my daughter goes to Redmond High School, and she uses a bike a lot. She bikes a lot. So for me, it's like I'm always want to ensure that she is safe when she's driving. So it's like always I ask her questions. Where's your helmet? Like have your helmet there? So so for the schools, having this as one of the educative sessions in their school also will help. I know there are things are happening, but do it in a kind of a fun way that they understand. And if you ask me, second majority of the time, they are all specifically for the teenagers. Sometimes they are so excited. So get them involved, because they will bring you the right information and knowledge, and they are going to be the ambassadors telling other. So involving communities, involving people, doing some of these things, that will just ensure that we are able to connect everybody. End of the day, Redmond has to be inclusive for all. Otherwise, no matter how much plans we put together, they will not be able to reach their potential and the end result that we all expect.
Yeah, great. All right. So September 29th through October 5th is the National Challenge Week Without Driving. So the Week Without Driving initially started in Washington State from Disability Rights Washington and has now grown to be a national challenge with America Walks, and elected leaders, decision makers, and folks all over the country can participate in the Week Without Driving. And you're allowed to walk, bike, take transit, ask for a ride to get around where you need to go. We are encouraging folks who are running for office to participate in the Week Without Driving. And we're also inviting folks to attend our walk and talk on October 2nd, talking about the connections between the Redmond Senior Center and the downtown Redmond Light Rail Station. Would you participate in the Week Without Driving Challenge?
This seems very exciting, and definitely I'd say yes, yes. But we have to also. I don't know what would be any situation where there is no transit available. That would be a kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
If I may have to excuse myself at that time, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I think this is a fantastic thing. And then we all. Candidates, and not only just the candidates, I would say, we are going to encourage other people to come and join.
Yeah.
And honestly, on a fun note, I will be doing the door knocking, and I'll be on my
Yeah.
using my walk, which
Yeah.
always excites me.
That's great. And it's okay if you fail the challenge, right? And have to drive. That's part of it, as long as you're starting to think about what it would be like for the 1 in 4 Washingtonians who do not have a driver's license. Like, how are they getting around when they don't have any other options? So
Absolutely.
we're really happy you'd want to participate. And our last question is fairly open. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us that you didn't get the chance to say already, either about transportation or another issue you're really passionate about?
So definitely for me, one of the and this comes because I work at a grassroots level, working with homeless and low income communities, and my biggest priority that that always I know is the biggest need also is affordable housing, which is very well connected with the transportation, because people. It's not only they need an affordable housing, they need an affordable transit, and as I said, making it closer to the transit places will help them. We have been talking about bringing some permanent housing, but not everybody would be having a mode of a transit, so we have to ensure that when these are happening, they have an accessibility to some of these modes of transit. So not only an affordable housing will provide them a shelter, it will help them also to use these transportation modes like this light rail to be able to get connected, go to their jobs, go to their work, or any services that they provide or they receive. So there will be a lot of things that I think that these things, they go hands in hand, and I would say definitely I want to work on both of these together, because you cannot fix one problem and open the other.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time
Thank you.
to talk with us today. We really appreciated it.
Thank you so much.
Great.